The coronavirus. It's scary, it's deadly, and it's spreading. However, that's not an excuse to abuse, to be ignorant, and say racial things to Chinese people. Yes, it did originate in the mainland of China. However, the people that have been affected and unfortunately have died from it are people who have recently traveled to China and are coming back to the United States or other parts of the world. It's not the fault of Chinese people already in the United States or England, UK, whatever country they're living in, and all of a sudden they have become this carrier of the coronavirus. That's not how it works. However, there are some people who are now being ignorant and racist and attacking Chinese people or anybody that looks Asian. I'm going to show you a video from CNN. This woman was on the subway when she was verbally attacked by someone who should have known better.
Every disease has ever came from China, homie. Everything comes from China. It's disgusting.
Currently stands, there are nearly 77,000 confirmed cases worldwide. Vast majority, more than 75,000 of those, are inside mainland China. By comparison, in the U.S., a tiny number. So my Thai is not very good.
You almost got it right.
Okay.
It's Jarapapasuk.
Jarapapasuk.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. So, Tenny, walk us through what happened. I mean, that video is just so repulsive, and that guy is such a jerk. I'm so sorry that happened. Tell me about the experience.
It was kind of, for me, it was really odd. He came on the train with us, and we noticed him right away because he was a little bit intoxicated. But it wasn't anything where we felt like this was out of the ordinary. It was a Saturday night. It was around 11 p.m. So, Los Angeles is happening, and we were just, he came on, and then as soon as he came on, he started talking about Chinese people and the coronavirus. For me, not being Chinese, I didn't pick it up right away. I just thought, okay, what's happening? Is he's just somebody who's drunk going on and on about, his fears. And then my friend actually noticed that he was looking at me. And then at some point, I started noticing from my peripheral that he was gesturing towards me as he's ranting on and on about Chinese and how dirty Chinese people are. And at some point after, I would say probably about 10 minutes, I really started getting scared because it wasn't stopping. It just started escalating more and more.
Well, it went on for more than 10 minutes.
Yes, yes. So the video, by the time I got my camera out, it was already about 10 minutes into it.
Oh my gosh.
And I think, yeah. I looked around the train for allies.
Did anybody say anything?
No, not. I mean, if you could see in the video, there's somebody sitting next to him that I'm not sure if that's his friend, but he felt, well, I don't want to speak for him, but it seemed like he was more embarrassed for his friend, so he kept trying to get his friend to sit down. And every time he would do that, this man would just escalate and just get more angry. I tried to make eye contact. For me at that point, I was like, my best bet is to try to see if there are allies on the train with me. Nobody on the train except for one African-American woman would look at me, would even acknowledge. And that was when I decided to take my camera out because I really didn't know where this was going to go. It wasn't safe enough for me to get up out of my seat and try to get off the train. And I felt trapped. So I thought, if he's going to do anything, I want to make sure that I have this on tape.
I mean, it's terrifying. I mean, to have somebody, intoxicated or not, who's just an obviously, awful idiot, and who feels emboldened to just spout like this racist, xenophobic, bigoted statements for more than 10 minutes, and no one else says anything. I mean, it would be terrifying.
It was so terrifying. I had never felt that much fear. At that point, all I could think of was, okay, how am I going to get out of this? I started looking around for exit signs. I saw a red leverage for, if there's an emergency to pull it, but it was close to him. So I thought, if he came close to me, the only thing I have at hand at the time was my voice, and that I would scream and then try to make my way towards the emergency handle and pull that. And that was the only, that was my plan if anything escalated.
And how did it finally end?
It finally ended because he got off the train. We got to his stop, and he got off the train, and then shortly thereafter, I got off at my stop. But it just kept going. It felt like most of the ride was him ranting at me.
I mean, wow. It's just sickening. I want to bring in Vincent Pan. He's the co-executive director of Chinese for Affirmative Action. Vincent, just how common are assaults like this, verbal or otherwise?
Well, I think there's always been discrimination and harassment and bullying of people of color in the United States, and Asian Americans and Chinese Americans are not immune from that. I think what we've seen in this situation is that the coronavirus has become a cause and also an excuse for more overt acts of bigotry. We've seen on social media, we've received reports at our office of everything from schoolyard bullying and taunts to the situation that you showed on the subway to other forms of public transportation, and also more systemic forms where people maybe are denied work shifts or get second looks when they're applying for housing. And so I think we have to nip these things in the bud right away and understand that we have a collective responsibility to do that.
And Vincent, in New York, the NYPD hate crimes unit, they tweeted out a video that we're going to put up of a Chinese woman wearing a mask actually getting physically attacked in the subway. They are asking for the woman to come forward and file an official report. It's frightening that someone feels emboldened to physically attack somebody.
Well, I don't think we should be surprised. I think that the climate here in the United States for several years now has been to try and otherize all groups of people, whether those are immigrants or Muslims, people who are not white. And so it's already in the air, and I think for Chinese people, there's been this conditioning in the United States to be fearful of China, whether that's because of the trade war or something else. So I don't think we should be surprised, and we know that historically, public health concerns, fear of disease has been a way to try and marginalize a community in order to scapegoat them for other problems that may be happening in society.
I mean, what's so ridiculous about this, it just on a factual basis, is the flu is the flu that every year is a concern to people. Is far more widespread, has far more people die from the flu every year. And the idea that some random people in subways are targeting Asian people because of fears about the coronavirus, which is largely in mainland China, it's just ignorant on top of offensive and racist and all the other things. Vincent, what do you advise people?
Well, I just wanted to thank you for pointing that out. The U.S. CDC reports that this flu season alone, 6,600 people have died of the flu in the United States, and there have been no deaths from coronavirus in the United States. So I think the first thing we have to do is remember that when we talk about this, that we're not trying to minimize the real suffering that people in China or anywhere in the world are feeling. Their loved ones have lost people that are dear to them, and we should express our concern and our compassion. For those of us here who see discrimination, we all have a responsibility to speak up, to say something. It's disheartening that in that first video, more bystanders were not willing to do that. But I also think that there's a very, very formal role that our government has to be able to track and monitor this to make sure that there are appropriate interventions. And whether that's hate crime lines or other actions that our state and local governments can take, No, this is a public responsibility. It's not something that should be left to only what individuals can do in response.
Tanny, did you think about going to the police?
You know, once I got off the train, I had a discussion with my friend, and I asked, what should I do? Should I call the police? Should I tell the authorities? At that time, for me, I just wanted to get home. The station that I got off of, there was no one around, and I didn't know really how to reach out. I didn't know if 911 was an appropriate number for me to call at that time.
And Tanny, I understand that you didn't know that this was really happening to other people as well throughout the country.
Yeah, I didn't know the severity of this. So once I got home, I started looking up online and discovered that this was happening all over the world, even in China, really, and it broke my heart. It made...
As you saw, it was a harrowing experience for this woman. And also the other woman was from New York City. And she was attacked on the subway. This person called her Asian B and hit her on the head. Now, as you saw from the little clip that was shown, she was a tiny little thing. And I don't know why she did it, maybe instinct or she was just fed up. She chased him and he beat her. The cops are asking her to come and, report it, make a report so they can go arrest this person. It's probably not going to happen. But the thing is, ignorance and racism is unacceptable. Now, if you have a friend who is saying this kind of stuff, please correct them. Please educate them. And if you're feeling this way, and because you're fearful, you really haven't researched this, please research this. Please educate yourself. Knowledge is power. Ignorance and racism is not. Thank you for watching this video, and have a great day. And I will see you guys later.